Hey everyone, hope you're doing well. This is the third topic. The second one was a video that I filmed with the whiteboard, but this one's going to be on IXL again. I'm going to show you using the interface because I think it's a better way to see it. So if you'll notice, the three skills that you're doing this week are solve equations, complete the solution, using the discriminant, which was the video with the whiteboards, and this one's going to be on domain and range of polynomials. So go ahead and click on that one, K.15. And domain and range is something that we haven't talked a lot about this year, but it is a concept that you might be familiar with from your Algebra 1 or even your 8th grade class. So this concept of domain and range is talking about what are all of the possible x values or inputs for the function based on where you see the function going in terms of left and right along the x-axis, and also what are all the possible y values or how far down or up it's possibly going. You want to really pay attention to the arrows also because the direction that it's going, you can't assume it's going to stop anywhere. So even if it's going just a little bit to the right, you got to assume that it's continually going right until positive or negative infinity. So let's go ahead and look at this example. We're finding the domain, the set of inputs or x values, and range, the possible y values or outputs. So in order to find the domain, we want to think x values. So that's the x-axis. How far left and how far right would this function go? Let's see. This function is going up, but it's also going to the left. So it's actually going to negative infinity. So this one's negative infinity and this one's negative infinity. Let's see how far. Oh, and so is this last one. And let's see where it's going in terms of to the right. To the right, it's going down, but it's still going to the right a little bit. You see how it's going down and right? So it must be going to positive infinity, which means that we have negative infinity, comma, positive infinity. Now let's look at the range. What this is really asking us is how high up or how far down is this function going? Well, it keeps going up and it keeps going down. So it's going towards positive infinity and towards negative infinity because the outputs, the y values, could be anything. So we drag that there, submit. Nice. All right, so let's go to the next level and see if it gets trickier. All right, once you get a little bit higher into the SMART scores, it might get a little bit more difficult. So our domain, that's our x values. We're seeing how far left and how far right does it go. Now, it looks like it only goes till the negative 8.5, but if you'll notice, it's still going left. It's going down, but also left. So we have to assume that it continues on forever to the left. So that's negative infinity. So either this one, or this one. And how far does it go to the right? Well, it's still going to the right, even though it's mostly going up. So it's going to positive infinity on the right. So that would be all real numbers or negative infinity to positive infinity. The range, we want to see how far low or high, up or down it's going. And it's still going up, still going down. So that would be all real numbers, negative infinity to positive infinity. So far, the domain and range of both of these functions has been all real numbers or negative to positive infinity. Now this one looks like it actually stops somewhere, right? So it's not going up any higher than the 9. So for this one, we won't have that for both of these. Let's check. The domain is how far left and how far right this goes. This is going down, but it's also going left. And then here it's going down, but it's also going right. So this continues going left and it continues going right to negative infinity and positive infinity. Now the range is how far it's going, the outputs, the y-axis. So it looks like it's stopping up here. That's the highest point. So we read it over here at the y. That's at positive 9. And since it actually hits this point right here, it hits the 9, we want to make sure that it has a bracket next to it. You see how there's a bracket right here? You see how there's a bracket right here? That means that it actually includes that point rather than not including the point when there's a parentheses. because where is negative infinity? We don't really know. That's just a concept. It's not a real number. So it can't actually hit that point, whereas it can actually hit the 9, and it can include the 9. So we want everything from positive 9 down to negative infinity, because it's still going down. Where's the positive 9? Here's the positive 9. Wonderful. All right, so let's go to the next level, and let's see if it gets any trickier. All right, so this parabola looks like it does have a minimum, and that minimum is right here at negative 9. It's continuing to the left and to the right. So the domain, the x-axis, the inputs could be anything from negative infinity to positive infinity, because it's still going in both directions. It's still going both directions, left and right. So it could be all real numbers. But in terms of the range, how high or how low it's going, it can go to positive infinity, but it can't go below negative 9. That's the lowest point. So here's negative 9, positive infinity. That's the range. Let's try the next level. See if it gets a little bit trickier once you get your first and second. All right, so this one looks like a quartic or fourth degree function because it's two parabolas, right? X squared and x squared, x to the fourth power. And we know that it's negative because it's pointing down. But we don't need to name it. We just need to find the domain and range. So let's see. The domain is the x values, the inputs. This is still going down and to the left, down and to the left. And this one's still going down and to the right. So it's not going to stop going left or right. So it's going to be all real numbers, or negative infinity to positive infinity. Now, in terms of the y-axis, it's going down, so it's negative infinity. But does it stop at 3? Sorry, negative 3, positive 6, or does it not stop going up? Let's see, it looks like it's hitting positive 6 and positive 6. So this is the highest point right here, positive 6. So we're choosing this one. All right, and let's go to the last couple of levels. All right, so once you get really high up there, this is for the A, you want to be able to find the domain and range. See here, the highest point is the positive 5. So that's on the range, the y-axis. And it's still going left and right forever. So the domain will be all real numbers, and the range will be up to positive 5. Super. All right, so hopefully you've mastered this skill, and you'll be able to. If you're having, oh, here's a tough one. Let's do this one too. All right, so this one, here's the x-axis, right? That's for the domain. It's going to the left, and it's going up, but it's still going to the left, right? So let's follow it to the right. It's going down, but it's still going a little bit to the right. So this is all real numbers, from negative infinity to positive infinity. And then the range, let's see, how high up does it go? Well, it's going up, and it's going down, and it keeps going up and down. Even though there's this, what we call local maximum or local minimum, because it's still going up and still going down, the domain is actually all real numbers. All right, so as I was saying before, if you're struggling with this one, domain and range, I wouldn't recommend going to Algebra 1. I would actually recommend typing up here, domain and range, and then searching for the topics that pop up. You'll see a lot of different topics on both domain and range. You'll see some as early as like 8th grade. You'll see some from Algebra 1, some from Algebra 2, even some from pre-calculus. So what you want to do is you want to pick one where the problems kind of look like what we're doing here. So where they still have a graph, right? And you're following the graph. So here you can see all the domain and range lessons that you can do. So if you hold it, you hover over the topic, you'll see here how they have ordered pairs. So this one's a little different. You probably wouldn't want to focus on this one, but this one has graphs, right? So you see how on the right side you can see what level they're at. If you're struggling with this one, you probably don't want to do the calculus or pre-calculus ones. You probably want to find one of the algebra ones, or even better yet, start with the lowest one, the 8th grade one. So you can see here that if you click on this one might be a little bit easier. Again, there's not a lot of graphs here, but there's a couple graphs in the third and fourth skills. So you can try this. If that one's not helping as much, focus on one of the algebra ones with a graph. So like this one, for example, domain and range exponential functions. Good luck, and let me know if you're having any difficulty. I'll kind of be able to see if you're getting stuck somewhere, but it's really good during this time. The best thing that you can do is really communicate with me, just because, if you're not reaching out, I won't know if you need any help with anything. The worst that happens is I don't answer immediately, but I'll do my best. All right, good luck, and I hope that you have an easy time with this skill, and I hope that it's really meaningful to your practice.